Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to look at covering the progression for accessories from the Asula set. Now this was something that was brought to my attention in the comment section in one of my last videos, and it does make a point that I think is quite fitting for a lot of the community. Now it's quite easy to get a little bit carried away when you're sort of experienced in the game and you know the progression system, you know what you should be doing and when you should be doing it. And this is something that I have also been going over with a lot of the newer members in Exile, people that are new to the game, when they're looking at where to progress their gear. Now, in terms of accessories, it's going to be the single biggest expense in this game for you. It's going to also be the most frustrating thing in the world. Unlike the rest of your gear, when you fail your accessories, you lose them. This can be extremely frustrating. It can cause people to burn out and quit the game, especially when you start getting to the higher levels of gear. Now to start with, most people will pick up the full Asula set. Now the Asula set is absolutely amazing for beginners, but it also lasts you for a long period of time. So what you can see on the screen is just a basic BDO planner build. Now this is full Asula, along with 3 pieces boss gear at Tet, the strength armor of Heave helm at Tet as well, that's the ultimate version, and then Zarka, the green Scythe made ultimate from your Awakening quest. If it doesn't matter which class you are, everybody will get one of these, a green and a blue weapon. The green one being the cheapest and easiest one to get leveled up. And then the offhand is Kutum. Now Kutum at Tet is fantastic because it gives you 53 extra monster AP, which is going to be amazing for grinding, and essentially you're going to need this when Camasylvia hits. Ideally, if you can get it to Tet, that's great. If not, then try should be sufficient enough. Now, once you get to this point in your gear, this is where you should start looking at accessories. Now, with the Valencia region, we have access to the what essentially are endgame accessories. These are the accessories that are going to stick with you for a long period of time. Now, there are some accessories from pre-Valencia that are still going to be viable, and some classes are still going to make use of these. Things like the Dimtree belt, things like the red coral earrings, witches earrings as well are a fantastic accessory, and the ogre rings, which still remain the best neck for pretty much every class in the game and are also incredibly expensive. Now normally what I'd look to do from the Asula is progress to things like marker shadows at try, witches earrings at try, pick up ogre rings, or look at Valencia seraph necklaces, basilisk belts, and those would be the normal progression. However, things are a little bit different now based off these events that we've had running since PS4 hit Valencia. We've pretty much had non-stop accessory drops from various chests or loot boxes. Along with the fact that everybody's grinding Valencia and selling these, the price of gold accessories has absolutely tanked. Now it's because of that, what we're going to look at is how you should probably be progressing your accessories. Now, take this with a pinch of salt. This is my own opinion and it is based off the NA servers. So we are going to flick across and have a look at the central marketplace and how it currently stands. And we're going to go over some of the pros and cons, what you should be doing, and also the more cost efficient way to upgrade your accessories, and the order that I would highly recommend that you look to progress these accessories in game when switching from Asula and looking to further your AP and obviously your stats moving forwards. So anyway, let's take a look at the CM in game. Okay, so since Valencia and because of all the events, the old blue accessories have really dropped in price. So things like marker shadow, your witches earrings, Shultz belts and Shultz necklaces have all really dropped. Now it's because of this that getting a mark of shadow to try is actually really cost efficient. The fact that they're selling for around 355 million at try is really overinflated for the actual cost of making a marker shadow, at least for the average person. Now, if you were to buy, for example, 10 of these and start to combine them, ideally if you get to a try, you'd only be looking at having paid 40 million. You can always look to buy them straight away, but ultimately, with the current prices, especially across the board with things like the Shultz, not just the marker shadows, but Shultz necklaces, for example, being only 1.1 million, and then things like your witches earrings as well, only 8 million now, down from when they were around 15. And then you've also got your Shultz belts as well. Look at that, 680,000 for a Shultz belt. So as far as upgrades go, you really wouldn't pay 170 million for one of these. You would buy a bunch of them, slam them together, and look to progress that way. Now that's still a viable option, so getting full blue accessories to try, so that's your Shultz neck, your Shultz belt, your Marks of Shadows and your Witch's earrings, getting them all to try is still a viable option, and it's also a cheap option at the moment. So if you are looking for some quick gains and you're not looking for really sort of min-maxing in the long term, at least not at this point in time, then the blue accessories are still a viable option. However, based off the current marketplace prices, what you'll see is that things like Crescent Guardians rings are really cheap as well at the moment. So they are selling at various prices. There's probably none at minimum at the minute. So I have picked up a bunch of these at 31 million. What you'll find is that people are really quick to try and sell these off because the marketplace does tend to have quite a few of them on there. But 36 million for a Ring of the Crescent Guardian, and if you get these to duo, they are the same as, or the same AP at least, as if you were to get a Mark of Shadow to try. So in terms of the chance of failing and your upgrades, getting a Ring of the Crescent Guardian to duo is a little bit easier than getting Mark of Shadow to try, at least in terms of the chances to fail. Now looking at the Mark of Shadow's current value as well, it's showing as 410 million there. However, we have just looked at it and we know that that's not the price that they're actually selling for. So you have to factor in, if you go for the blue accessories, that the resale value is really low on these. The chances of you actually selling these, at least for the time being, is very slim. So what I would suggest doing is looking to pick up gold accessories. So when you're looking at your accessories overall, what you want to be doing is prioritizing ideally something like the Seraph's neck first. The reason being is that it's a huge upgrade over anything, even the Shultz. Now a Tri-Shultz, although it's an upgrade over the Asula, it is only a minimal upgrade. So if we look at a Tri-Shultz, you've got 16 AP there and 8 accuracy, whereas a Tri-Seraph's neck is 20 AP and 16 accuracy. And the beauty of this is if you do want to farm them out in Fogans or at Nagas, you can farm them yourself. However, picking these up on the marketplace, they are always selling, and they are always selling really cheap. So if we look at Seraph's necklaces, they are selling for around 16 to 14 or 13.8 now, down to 13,800,000. That's a really solid investment for your first accessory. And what you want to do is aim to get this to try. Now I know this is a little bit daunting, but what I'll do is cover the fail stacks and what you should be doing in a moment. After you've picked up your Seraph's necklace, what you would look to do then is either pick up a Ring of the Crescent Guardian or a Basilisk belt. You're not going to look at Tungrad's earrings, which are the gold equivalents in the current best in slot for most classes. You're going to forget about those for a while because they are still incredibly expensive and incredibly rare to pick up. So what you want to do is look to pick up a Ring of the Crescent Guardian and a Basilisk belt, and you want to get those to either duo if you can't afford to get them to try, or ideally you want to get them to try as soon as possible. Now like I said, the duos are the same as having tries of the blue gear, so it really comes down to sort of how much you're looking to spend and how comfortable you are with getting fail stacks and with enhancing accessories. You will fail a ton of these. Now failing Crescent Guardian rings at 31 million a pop is a lot more demoralizing than failing Mark of Shadows at 4 million each. So keep that in mind. It might be something that you want to do is look into the blue accessories, however they don't last you that long. Now the gold accessories, if you get a full set of duo, at least then you have a backup to start working for try. What I would always suggest doing is keep your duo and instead start building a new set. This will allow you to always have that duo gold accessory. You're not going to drop below duo. You're not going to find yourself demoralized that you're going backwards in gear progression. It does take a little bit more time, but overall it's the safest way to do it. This is the best way to go for try on gold accessories, and then again, once you get to try, rather than trying to go for tet in the future using the try accessories you're using, you're going to then build another set of backups. You're going to look to have a backup set of tries and then start going for tet on those. Now it is worth noting as well that softcap on PC is considered all try gold accessories along with full tet boss armor, tet Zarka, tet Kutum or tet Nuva, and also your tet Dandy. So getting your full try gold accessories should be something that you're focusing on, although it is worth noting that it doesn't need to be your main focus at the moment. And if you're brand new to the game and you're looking for incremental steps and you don't want to take the dive straight into gold accessories, the blue accessories are still there. Now, the cheapest way to do this is to enhance yourself. However, this comes with an inherent risk, and the risk is that you end up running up a bill in excess of what it would be to just buy the accessories. So a lot of people will opt to buy these outright. However, grinding a billion silver in the current climate, with the marketplace being as terrible as it is actually quite a struggle for a lot of people. Personally, I prefer to enhance my gear, and that's because I'm very comfortable with failing. I understand the soft caps on fail stacks, which I'm going to show you in a second, and hopefully whenever I'm enhancing, I would expect that I would pay on average slightly less than if I was to buy the item outright. So for example, my Seraph's necklace cost me around 500 million as opposed to a billion, and I have so far ran up 300 millions worth of fails on Crescent Guardian rings and 200 millions worth of fails on Basilisk belts, both of which are nowhere near the cost of if I was to buy them outright. However, I do still run that risk, as I said, that if I keep enhancing, I will end up spending the equivalent of what it would have cost me to just buy the ring outright. It is worth noting as well that you only need one Crescent Guardian ring. Now the reason for this is once Camasylvia hits and we get the patch that updates our leveling rewards, at level 61 you will get what's called a Composure ring, and that will be the equivalent of a Crescent Guardian. That means that you only need one ring and not two, and it will also serve as a very solid backup when you start going for Tet in future. It's also worth noting that there are Composure accessories at 62, 3 and 4 as well, and they are an earring, a belt and a necklace, I believe. However, for the most part, most people aren't ever going to see these or won't really push to see these, so that's why we're looking at making the Seraph's necklace, the Basilisk belt, and then we're looking at the earrings. Now I did mention that Tungrads are really not being the best option at the moment. What I would say is that picking up Tri-Witches is a really solid option. A Tri-Witch is the equivalent roughly of a duo Tungrad, and Witches going to Tet is surprisingly going to be more cost efficient than trying to get Tungrads to Tri. However, I'll leave that up to your better judgment. If you are somebody that can grind Akman or Histria and can drop them yourself, then fantastic, that'll help cut down your costs. Otherwise, you're pretty much looking for them being on the marketplace, and the prices of these is a lot higher than other accessories. So if we're looking at Tungrad earrings still being at around 77, and you're looking at for a Tungrad at 2 billion. So these are a very, very, very expensive accessory, and for the extra 2 AP that you get over a Tri-Witch, it's probably not cost efficient for most people. But anyway, we're going to pop back over to the BDO planner, and I'm going to show you what you should be looking to aim for your accessories, and then I'm also going to go over the enhancing and the fail stacks. Okay, so we're back on BDO planner, and this is the full Asula set. Now the thing to note here is it doesn't take into account the set bonuses, so that's something that you have to look at as well, because you will be breaking up the set when you start to move away to different accessories, and this is something that you really need to think about, especially when dropping the accuracy and the health, depending on which classes you're playing. But ultimately, for the full base Asula, you get 45 AP and 7 DP. Now, I've got a couple of upgrade paths for you to have a look at. So first of all, is if you were to go the blue accessories, you would jump up to 68 AP. Now, this is a really cheap way of doing accessories. Ultimately, you shouldn't fail too often on these accessories. They're quite easy to farm if you choose to do so, and they're dirt cheap on the marketplace. Now the cons of this is that this is essentially where this upgrade path ends. From here you will then have to look at investing into the gold accessories. So whether or not you want to take this step first is entirely up to you. I'm currently still sat on a lot of Tri-Blue accessories purely because I did this prior to Valencia, and it was a very cost efficient way of increasing my stats at that point in time. I am now currently at the process of upgrading to Tri-Gold accessories and completely skipping out the next progression that I'm going to show you. But just one thing to note on here is that we have Witches earrings at Tri at 11 AP and 8 accuracy. A cheaper still version of this is the Blue Coral at 10 AP and 8 accuracy, as well as some dodgy max MP WPSP stat. So ultimately they give the same accuracy and there's only 1 AP difference, and if you're really on a budget you could go Blue Corals. You could also look at red or blue coral rings as well if you really wanted to. However, once you start skimping back on stats that way, you really run into a dead end, and you want to try and avoid that. Now, the path that I would personally recommend is this instead. Now, this would be going for your gold accessories to duo. This will put you at the same spot as you would be, or very similar spot as you would be, if you were looking at picking up the blue accessories previously. However, the thing to note here is that this progression path continues. Now I have included the Composure ring because we are very likely to be getting that within the next sort of 4 weeks. However, if you weren't able to wait for that and you were looking to progress your stats, you would simply replace this with another Crescent Guardian ring and it wouldn't be wasted money. Now the reason for this is that this upgrade path is going to be the start of where you begin your journey to soft cap essentially. All of these accessories will serve as your main accessories until you can get a try version of these from backups. Like I said before, using backups allows you to maintain your current level of AP or your current stats without falling backwards if you fail. Although it's long-winded, it is more expensive. It's definitely how I would recommend doing this. And again, with this, you still keep either the witch's earrings or the blue corals at try. You don't need to touch these for the time being. They're going to be some of the last things that you upgrade. Now the natural progression from this is to get the full gold tri accessories. Now from here you would have the tri basilisk belt, the tri seraphs or the ogre ring depending on what your budget is. Now a tri ogre ring is incredibly expensive compared to a seraphs, so for most part getting a tri seraph is going to be the go-to for a lot of players. By then you'd probably have the Composure ring again. Like I said, it's the equivalent of a tri crescent guardian ring, so you wouldn't need 2 tri crescents unless you were making some to go for Tet. And again, I haven't touched the earrings. These would stay at try, or at very least, or very most, sorry, you would push them to Tet. And if you were to push them to Tet, it would still probably be more cost efficient than trying to pick up those Tungrads that were 2 billion. You could pick up a Tet Witch's earring for around 900 million. So realistically, what you'll find is that Tet Witches are the equivalent of Tri Tungrads anyway, except for missing out on the Black Spirit stat on there. And they give the same accuracy. Oh, sorry, they actually give 2 more accuracy than the Tri Tungrads, and they give the same AP at 13. So this is where you would then switch out and start looking for your Tungrad earrings and then progressing these to Tet. However, what I would say is that most people stop at Tri accessories for quite a while. They finish getting their boss armor to Tet, they finish getting their weapons to Tet if they haven't already. Now, I would recommend doing that before accessories. However, a lot of people understand that accessories are going to be one of the biggest ways to inflate your gear score, especially in the current climate with the prices being so low. But this is the progression path that I would recommend, would be going through the gold accessories, getting them all to duo, and then creating backups and going for try on them, using the try to replace those duos, and then either selling the duos off to recoup some of your costs, or using them to hopefully go for other tries to use as backups for the future when you're going for Tet. Now all of this is based around my opinion of enhancing accessories. Personally, I think enhancing is the route to go. However, I fully understand that people prefer to buy these accessories, and for what you're looking at, you're probably going to be able to pick up a Tri Crescent, a Tri Seraph and a Tri Basilisk belt for around 3.8 billion. So it's a lot of silver to be saving up, but if you do make the choice to buy them, at least you know you're guaranteed to be picking these up. However, if you do want to go down the enhancement route, you don't have to build massive fail stacks. So what I'm going to show you now is actually the fail stack percentages for accessories, and we're going to have a look at soft cap. So here we are looking at a spreadsheet. This has been compiled by BDO players from PC over the last couple of years. It's been data mined. It's come from reliable sources based off the enhancement percentages that people have got at various stacks. Now what we're looking at here is the accessories columns over here. We're looking at Pri, Duo and Tri. Now what you'll notice is that there are green columns and then it turns to yellow. So when it turns to yellow, this is what we call soft cap. Now once it goes to yellow, the amount of percentage increase chance to succeed that you get will decrease per fail stack. So if we look at here, we're at 57.5. So what we were getting is 2.5% chance per fail stack. Once we get to 18, it drops down and we only get 0.5 per fail stack. So it's because of this that what we would always recommend is that when you start enhancing for a Pri accessory, that you only use an 18 stack and you don't bother going for higher stacks. Now you can go higher and you will always get an increased percentage chance. However, this isn't cost efficient in terms of enhancing, and that's what we're looking for, is the most cost efficient way of enhancing these accessories. So for pry accessories, what you're wanting to look at is 18 stacks or 18 fail stacks, and that's going to give you a 70% chance to succeed. Now granted, this will probably fail more often than it succeeds, even at 70%, because BDO and RNG, but ultimately anything past this is going to be a wasted stack. Now the same can be said once you get to duo, and as soon as you hit that 40 stack, you get a 50% chance to succeed. It then only goes up by 0.2 every fail stack that you have. So to get it from 50% to 51, you have to get in 5 fail stacks, and to go from 50% to 60%, you would have to go from a 40 stack up to a 93 stack, or sorry, a 90 stack. So it's just not cost efficient to try and get those increased percentages. You're better off just hitting it on that 50%, and ideally it'll either go or it won't go. I mean, it's a 50-50 chance. The way that I look at enhancing is it's always a 50-50 chance in my eyes. It's either going to enhance or it's going to fail. Then when we're looking at try, it's a really strange one because the soft cap is only 4 above. So you're only looking at a 44 stack. So I always remember this as you're just going 18, 40, 44, and those are the stacks that you need. So you don't need any monster stacks. You don't need any huge stacks to be enhancing these. Now, I wouldn't say that if you fail on a 44 stack, then leave that stack and go to another one. I would still continue using that until it starts to increase a little bit higher, especially if your gear is already done. Things like your armor and your weapons are done, then these fail stacks are fine to be using. You're always going to get a higher percentage chance to succeed on your enhancements, but ultimately anything past the soft cap is going to be a waste of time. So even if we're looking at enhancing, going to pry to start with, you've got a 70% chance at 18 of succeeding. Then going for duo, you've still got a 50% chance if you get to a 40 stack. And then if you're going to try, you're still close to a 40% chance. You're bang on 40.5% if you're going on a 44 stack. And this is why I choose to enhance my accessories rather than buy them. Barring some incredibly terrible RNG, the odds aren't that bad in terms of your enhancement. When you think about pen attempts on your weapons being sub 1% to start with on 0 stacks, the enhancement percentage chances on accessories are actually pretty good. Now the real kicker for me on this one is that this can be really easy to get these stacks. So if you level a character to level 55 and you run it through the Valencia questline, you will get a bunch of 20 stacks, a bunch of 30s and a 50. Now what I would suggest doing is buy costumes off the marketplace and turn them into Valk's Cry. You hit your prize on the 20 stacks, you hit your duos with a 30 stack plus 10 Valk's Cry to take up to a 40, and then you hit your tries on the 50. It's just a really easy way of doing it. If you've got friends that can boost you, it's even quicker, but otherwise, if you make a character that's the same class as your main class and level through with all of your gear on, it takes me on average around 3.5 to 4.5 hours from level 1 to 55 and through the Valencia questline. That for me is hands down the most cost efficient way of enhancing accessories. Now hopefully you found this interesting, or you've at least found it useful. I know it's a bit of a long-winded video, but it's something that I really wanted to go into a little bit more detail on than I normally would do. It is also midnight, so I've probably droned on a little bit. I'll cut the video there where it is. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. And as always guys, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're getting close to that 7,000 subs mark now, and I do really appreciate all of the support. Everybody's been fantastic, and I've really enjoyed playing on NA and getting to know everybody that's been here. Exile was predominantly formed from subscribers and people that were members of this community, and it's been absolutely amazing playing with each and every one of them and everyone that I've met so far. Anyway guys, that's all for me today. I'll catch you in the next one.